Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Glam Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a bit about the variables to gaining muscle, or at least some of them, not all of them. I mean, there's always a few that I'll miss or whatever, but I'm going to talk about a few of them here. The reason why I'm talking about this is that I always get somebody in the comments that says it's all about constant tension. Everything's constant tension. That's how you grow muscle. And then another person says it's all about diet. Diet is king. Diet is the only factor that you really have to play into account when it comes down to gaining muscle. Training is only 5% of the whole paradigm or whatever, right? So there's a lot of this oversimplistic thinking that goes on in training. This is really part of the human condition. What we're trying to do is make something that's really complicated into something that's overly simplified. And I used to do this too. When I first started training, I developed these principles inside myself and say, okay, good, I made some gains. What did I do to make those gains? And I'd say, okay, that's what training is about. Training is just about lifting in this rep range, or just about lifting in this range of motion, or just about lifting in these certain exercises. And then of course, a year or two would pass and my gains would stagnate, and then I try a different principle or a different way of doing things and realize, oh wow, I just got muscle gains from breaking my own rules.
I erased the first clip. That was a way better one.
So the first thing you want to do is keep an open mind, which we always talk about here, but at the same time, don't be afraid to break your own rules, because it doesn't mean that your rules are wrong. It doesn't mean that when you realize that, oh yeah, constant tensions produce some results, it doesn't mean that you're wrong about that. That's true. Constant tension did produce some results, just like diet produces a lot of results as well. And just like lifting in certain rep ranges produces results, but it's the synergistic effect that we're going after in bodybuilding. We're trying to say, how many of these different variables can I incorporate into my training in order to get the most results from my training? Because we all know it's not just about one principle or one thing. Although one thing or one variable can produce results, at some point you plateau and then you're like, oh, okay, I need some type of different stimulus. So that said, I'm gonna throw a bomb at you right now. I'm gonna throw like a really interesting sort of experience that I've had your way, so that way you can kind of understand what I'm talking about here. What I found is that certain muscle groups will respond to certain rep ranges or rep speeds more than other areas. So for instance, and this is just my theory, but muscle fibers that are more endurance fiber dominant seem to respond better to constant tension, higher rep sets than fast twitch fibers, which respond well to more explosive type reps and perhaps faster reps. So the fact is that don't rob yourself of gains by just doing something one way. If you have to do it one way because the other way injures you, of course, I understand that. And yes, please just keep doing your training the way that doesn't injure you first and foremost. But secondly, be open to changing the way you're doing things once in a while, because when you think outside your own box, you start to break through your own self-made plateaus. A lot of times we have plateaus because we get stuck in a structure. We get stuck in a certain way of doing things and say, this is the only way I should do it because I want to be right more than get results, right? So once you realize that you want results more than being right, then you start to experiment a lot, which is why you see some of the older guys in my comments and stuff, they're like, hey, I train this way and man, it broke me and that's why I train that way. And they actually went through this cycle of life where they realized the limitation of their own thinking at some point, and then they were forced to adapt and evolve. So you can start doing this earlier in your training. You don't have to wait till your training breaks you, or you don't have to wait till you stagnate for 10 years and get frustrated. You can start to make changes in your training here and there and just experiment and see what produces results. And you will notice that not all muscles will respond to the exact same type of stimulus, because some muscles are different than other muscles. Some are more fast twitch fiber dominated and some are more endurance fiber dominated. And this will make a huge difference in what type of training may produce the best results for you. So yeah, I hope this helps you think outside the box. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgalantbodybuilding.com. And thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now.